Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta of Taatjes Financial Group, where we build purposeful retirement plans. At Taatjes Financial Group, we believe retirement planning is so much more than just preparing financially. Our goal is to help retirees and pre-retirees steward their time, talent, and treasure. We have the tools and proven process to make sure your retirement plan delivers the greatest purpose, impact, and legacy. If you need help building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your retirement, give us a call. Our number is 320-222-4236. You can request a meeting online at taatjesfinancial.com. And if you are in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Well, thank you once again for joining us today. If you missed last week's show, we had a really interesting conversation with one of our advisors, Matt Hoekstra. He talked about really inflation and how it affects your life, and more specifically, the joy in your life. And yes, inflation has been a hot topic lately, and it has certainly affected the lives of pretty much everybody listening here in some capacity. But he gave some perspective on your mindset towards money and kind of your daily life and the cost of living. And we titled last week's show, Is Inflation Still Stealing the Joy in Your Life and Retirement? Very interesting conversation, really kind of about the mindset of money and what's happening in the world today. If you missed last week's show, I highly encourage you to go check it out. Again, you can find us on a number of locations. First and foremost, you can find us on iTunes. Subscribe while you're there. This is a podcast. We turn this radio show into a podcast every single week. You can find our replays at our website, taatjesfinancial.com. And we're also on YouTube. If you search Taatjes Financial on YouTube, you can find our channel. We have all the playlists from this show there as well. Ben Taatjes joins me on the show here today, and we're going to kind of continue this conversation of kind of what's happening in the world. We try to stay on top of recent events. We try to get into the heads of pre-retirees and retirees to see how world news, events, economy news kind of affects retirees. And we had some, I would say, some movement and some things happened last week that were pretty significant.
Yeah, Jared, they did. I mean, the Fed raised short-term interest rates by a quarter again. And there was speculation, are they done doing that? Are they going to continue doing that? Of course, we saw, really some lower inflation numbers coming out. We saw some reasons that the Fed said, yes, we are going to raise the target range again for those rates. And I think what we're seeing is that, and when I think about getting in the minds, like you said earlier, about getting in the minds of retirees is, yes, it's costing a lot more at the grocery store. We're seeing things cost more. And then they read and hear that actually inflation is calming, right? And it's come down. Well, then the Fed raises rates again. They're thinking, well, here we go again, right? Will this again cause more problems?
Yeah. So what is your kind of outlook on this? Because the market actually responded very positively after that news came out on Thursday.
Yeah, Jared, it did, and I think there's a lot of things that go into that. It's most of the week things were flat, and the market's digesting earnings, and then we have this quarter interest rate hike again, and some more strong economic data. So I think what people are thinking is like getting in the heads of retirees is like, what gives, right? Why is this happening? Why are we not seeing this big recession that we thought we were going to have earlier this year? We continue to see earnings actually coming out quite strong from the majority of companies that are actually reporting. And I think coming into 2023, we all expected recession. I think that was pretty common. It's very difficult to raise rates as rapidly as they have without seeing some pullback. And I am not one that says, "Oh, we're in the clear. We're never going to have a recession. Everything is fine." I believe that this takes time, Jared. There's a tail being wagged by this dog that we don't know what that does. When you go from interest rates at almost zero up to now over 5, that does make a difference in how consumers behave. It hasn't yet. As far as what we're seeing on the numbers, but it will make a meaningful difference.
So you brought up an interesting point. There's an event. The Fed raises rates in the super immediate near term. It doesn't really seem to have a major effect. In fact, the stock market responded very positively due to some other data. Earnings came out, but like you just said there, where's the ripple effect? What does this look like in a quarter or two? One does not know. So I ask you this question a lot. What should be in the minds of investors? What should they be doing? How should they be looking at their portfolios?
Yeah, I mean, Jared, I wrote an article last week, and it's on our website if somebody wants to find it there. But one of the columns that I wrote was that recession is deferred. It wasn't that we're not going to have a recession. It was that it's been deferred. So as of today, we're not seeing a recession. In fact, we're seeing GDP growth. So with that, are we all surprised? Yeah, I mean, it is a little surprising. But what do we do from here, right? So we can't say that we're never going to have a recession, but that doesn't necessarily mean that even earlier this year, you made massive changes to your portfolio thinking there was going to be a recession.
Right.
That's not the right decision to make. Most of the time when we try to get ahead of what we think is going to happen, and we try to be fortune tellers or future tellers, I guess, that doesn't work very well. I'm not a prophet. I don't know any prophets. People don't know what the markets are going to do tomorrow, what the economy is going to look like. So it all comes back to making sure that you're getting good, sound advice. You're staying, you're aligning your portfolio to your goals. I think that's one of the keys that many people forget is, hey, if I don't need to have a portfolio that's entirely in the stock market, I can have other things today that are creating a good income stream for me. Yeah. Cash now, Jared, is paying incredible rates as to what we've seen in my entire career. Over 20 years, I haven't seen this where somebody can come in and they can say, yeah, we want to put our account in something super safe, even a bank CD, and get over 5%. Right. Money markets are 4 to 5%. This hasn't been this way for 30, 40 years. Yeah. So I think part of the discussion around anybody's plan needs to be what are we do? What today is different from before? Yeah. Okay, where are the opportunities that are created by the current market cycle? And then does each dollar I have, each account I have, does it fulfill a purpose, right? So if I've got retirement accounts, they should be invested one way for that purpose. If I've got money that I know I need in 6 months, it should be invested differently. Yeah. If I've got money that, just the other day, Jared, I had a family in, and the mom is aging, and the kids are like, mom's probably not going to use this money. Well, we need to be looking at that more as a wealth transfer situation where the kids will actually be spending this. So should we be investing it more for them?
Sure.
It all comes down to your unique, specific situation and making sure that your portfolio aligns to that situation.
I think that's great advice. I heard a speaker yesterday, and he was talking about how the world has changed so much, even recently. And one word he used to describe the world is incomprehensible, meaning stuff just doesn't make sense. Stuff that made sense 20 years ago or 10 years ago doesn't really make sense now. And kind of just what you just said, you're seeing things that haven't seen for the first time in your career. So I think it's a constant just analyzing the data, understanding what's going on to some extent, but really just having a solid plan and sticking to it, because who knows, how one thing affects this and affects this. And there's no way you'd be able to connect all those dots. Just stay the course, find a plan, and stick with it.
Well, yeah, and seek good counsel. Jared, I think whether or not you're coming to see one of our advisors or you're going to, another trusted source, you have to realize that when you're coming into retirement, you get to do this one time. When you're managing your portfolio, that is something you do in your spare time. You probably have a career that's you're focusing in on. Right. Let the professionals do that. Let people who do this every single day. The first time we do anything, it usually isn't the best time, right? I mean, in 20 years more of doing this, there's a lot of things today that we do very differently from when I first got in this career. So I think it's very important that people come and see us and don't think that we're just after your money. We want to help you. That's my goal, and everybody on my team's goal is to help you live the best life you can and make sure that your portfolio aligns with your life.
Absolutely. Well, if you are ready to begin building that purposeful retirement plan that will best steward your time, your talent, and your treasure, we can help. We've got a number of ways that you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. First, give us a call at 320-222-4236. Request a meeting online at taatjesfinancial.com. And if you live in West Central Minnesota, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. I'm Jared Sebesta, joining you on this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.